getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Thanks for hanging with us on a Wednesday. You got the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. 15 minutes away from now, we will have the Word of the Day and Kaylee's Dailies, so make sure you tune in for that. Someone asked what the softball odds are, and I got to be honest, it's hard to find. I don't know where people bet on college softball. It's out there. Okay, I think I may have found one. Texas Tech currently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th best odds in the country to win the national championship.
Nice.
So I don't know what the odds are. They asked for this weekend. I don't know what the odds are to win your regional or whatever, but I think it's pretty good to win your regional. Tech, so Snead, for anybody interested, Tech has better odds than Florida State to win the national championship. Florida State is 11th, and that's the team that you would match up with in a super regional.
Yeah, and so, I think there's some question of whether Florida State's going to get out of their regional.
So, and if they don't get out of their regional,
they're coming to Lubbock.
That means you get out of yours. Super regional.
Yep, and if you host a super regional, now, yeah, I'm all. Oh man.
So we're rooting against Florida State this weekend.
Yeah, go Auburn. War Eagle.
So there you go.
I'll be careful what you ask for. You might get it.
I hope that
exactly. That's a squealing turtle right
just
there.
Just keep hanging zeros. Nigeria, Kennedy, and that'll work. And Tech defense, obviously. Okay, so what did I have for you here? Oh, did you see Stranger Things released a date?
Stranger Things has jumped the shark for me.
Okay. Jumped the shark. So you were in on it?
Oh yeah, I was all in on.
Oh, I didn't know you were ever in on it. I was kind of joking.
Season 1, season 2, I was in like Flynn, and then season 3 when they went away for a long time and they came back and they were all like 18
older.
years old.
Oh, it's even worse now.
Yeah, so like
they're all going to be way older now.
I mean, they're all like like when I see 11 holding her kid. This is my kid, 5.5. Here you go.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be from one day to the next that we're starting the season.
5.5, yeah. So, yeah, when they came back and they were all, like, in high school, I was like, yeah, okay. I watched, like, half an episode and I said, I can't watch this.
So, they have announced a June 6th. I hope I'm not getting duped, but it looks like a June 6th.
You're not duping me because I just said no. I can't do this anymore.
That's fine.
That show lost its innocence.
Ben, are you a Stranger Things guy?
I am not, but my sister is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a popular show.
You know what? I was all in on it, man. It was great. And then
it's something I thought I would not like at all, and then I watched, and then it's like, oh wow! It just the '80s nostalgia that's part of it is part of what makes the show.
And then now it's kind of like, okay, now they're all older and they're in the '90s, and because they're all like, these are supposed to be Generation X kids. This is my youth. That the black kid on there, that was Snead. Okay,
that was Snead.
That was Snead running around right there with the little half fro.
The almost athlete.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. I mean,
no, he was an athlete. He just wasn't the best one. Yeah.
No, I mean,
he was the best out of his little group.
I never claimed to be the best athlete around here.
No, I like him. He's funny. Okay, so also, did you see Scotty Scheffler this week at the PGA Championship?
What did he do?
He has somewhat sarcastically been wearing his player's badge around. Player's badge around, so he doesn't get mistaken for not being a player.
Exactly. I would 1,000%.
I think that's hilarious.
I would 1,000% say I'd have a T-shirt that says I am this guy. The one that's holding up the PGA Championship trophy. I am this guy.
I don't think he has one yet.
Well, maybe he will this year.
He might. He is one of the two favorites. Aberg's odds 7th best to win the PGA Championship.
I mean, that's awesome.
Let's go.
I love it. I mean, former Red Raider. No. Still one of us. Hashtag one of us.
Still one of us. Okay, so the big news from yesterday, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, their ban from baseball was withdrawn yesterday by the commissioner. Now, there have been people on these radio airwaves or, between our two stations that are very opinionated on this, some that have very little opinion. Where do you fall in that?
I mean, I was always against Pete Rose. I said, you did the crime, you got to do the time. I've just gotten to the point where what are we fighting for here? To keep a guy out of a building, that's filled with womanizers, racist, cheaters, and we pick and choose that we're going to get moral here. And they say, yes, Snead, but he bet on baseball. It's the cardinal sin. Yeah. These guys participated in keeping a whole race of people out of baseball over here. And we got a whole room full of them. And no one seems to care about that.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just can't get behind the moral high ground for some of that. So I just say, you know what? And the fact that it's the drunken sports writers that are going to be the most up in arms about it, please put them in. Please put him in.
Well, okay, if
Mike DeLuca is one of the guys who's clutching his pearls over this, good. Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
First off, it's the red sin, not the cardinal sin. Sorry. And secondly, I'm completely with you. Like, it's first and foremost, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not.
He's eligible for the Hall of Fame. So the writers and the voters will still get the chance to keep him out if they want.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's past that. It's the Veterans Committee now. This is a 100% Veterans Committee.
Is that right?
Yeah, 16 Veterans Committee members. The drunken sports writers, I don't think, get any say in this.
Why would it go straight to that?
Because he's already exhausted all of the...
No, he was never eligible.
But he's still passed all of those times, isn't it? I think they're going to do a special
time thing.
Yeah,
you've been out for so long.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because he was never eligible.
Yeah, you get the timetable is once you get to, or is it so many votes? I mean, I'm going to admit that I'm speaking out of school here.
Yeah, I'm not certain either.
I think it's a time thing. Once you get past a certain amount, it's
either way, he can be still left out of the Hall of Fame if that's what they choose. Look, I think that's when you're picking and choosing morality in your sports, it's a dangerous game.
Yes.
It is dangerous. I do think there are clear-cut things where you do choose murder, rape, these sorts of things. Yeah, maybe we do. But there are some no doubt gray areas. And the Baseball Hall of Fame, as you mentioned, is just littered with guys that were not great guys, supposedly. And
I'm getting confirmation that it is
veterans. Okay,
it is Veterans Committee has to approve. 16 veterans members, 12 have to say yes.
So it must have been a time limit thing. So yeah. I think when it comes to this stuff, if Pete Rose would have been proven to bet against his own team,
mm-hmm.
if there was proof that he bet against his own team, which that's never,
and then you could easily make your team lose,
then this would be a completely different story. Yeah. If you're tarnishing the game itself, because that's what you get in the Hall of Fame or mm-hmm. should get in the Hall of Fame for, or be left out of the Hall of Fame, and that's why there is still something to people not voting in the steroid users.
Yeah, they'll say, well,
because that was part of the game itself.
Exactly, and the fact that I get wrapped around the axle on the fact, well, we've got all these guys like Ty Cobb, noted racist. Noted.
Have you seen the thing on him? There's a whole blurb that Ty Cobb may not have been the person he was made out to be because there was one sports writer out there
mm-hmm. that
created this stigma about Ty Cobb that wasn't actually true. So there's something fascinating on the internet. It's worth
until I see different.
Okay.
Noted racist.
Oh no, that's fine.
Okay, and you know what? Also unapologetic for it. And was known to sharpen up his spikes and go into second base and tear up people's legs. Was known to do that. This is not hyperbole. The fact of the matter is, it was socially acceptable to be a racist back then. Okay, so no one seemed to care if hey, I'll put him in. It wasn't a problem for anybody. So
Yep.
I got a problem with it now. But you know what? He's in the Hall of Fame. If he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, put Pete Rose in. Put Barry Bonds in. I don't care. Put all the asterisks you want by these guys. Is he one of the best baseball hitters in the world? Yes, Pete Rose. Is Barry Bonds one of the best home run hitters in the world? Yes. Was he a great home run hitter before he took steroids? Yes.
Yeah.
Same with Mark McGuire.
Yeah. All right, y'all keep your thoughts coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll react to some of that next. And Kaylee's Dailies, Word of the Day, all of that ahead on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Happy Hump Day, everyone. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. 100.7 The Score mobile app. You'll continue to chime in. Thoughts, comments, questions, all of it welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get back to a few of your thoughts in a moment. But first, it is time for us to deliver a word of the day. Snead, we here at 100.7 The Score have teamed up with our friends at the Home Zone.
Home Zone.
To give away a total of $10,000. Giving away $500 every Tuesday and Thursday. Yesterday, Jody was our winner. Shout out to Jody. So if you want to be like Jody, get some cash, just listen in at 10:45, 12:45, that's now, and 2:45. Get the word and go type it in at TSportsNetwork.com. Your word for this Wednesday, May the 14th, is Marlins.
Marlins.
Marlins sore.
Marlins.
Ben, can we please have the Creed Marlins song at the end of this segment? Have you heard this?
This is our town. This is our team.
No. That's the Colts guy. There's a Marlins. We'll see if Ben can fetch it for us. But there's a
Marlins.
There's a Marlins.
We are the Marlins.
Creed song that you have absolutely got to hear. You've got to hear it.
Can you take me, Marlins?
Not quite. So y'all go type that in at TSportsNetwork.com. Ben, let's go ahead and get to Kaylee's Dailies.
Caw, and caw is law. Ben? Yes, sir. Choice. I had to wait for the slow turn from Ben there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's time for Kaylee's Dailies, brought to you each and every day at this time by me. Suck it. Chuck. Chuck says he's living rent-free in my head every day.
Yes, which is true.
This is not. Kaylee says, Jamie Ben today.
Okay.
We begin today with an original dad joke from Kaylee. I want to go ahead and start this off and say this is awful. What do you get if you put a dolphin and a Dalmatian together?
A Dalmatian.
No.
A spotted dolphin.
You get nothing because it's scientifically impossible.
What the heck?
But if it were
actually something coming out of this.
I told you this was awful. But if it were, you might get something that looks like a Pantropical spotted dolphin. Pantropical spotted dolphins are common to the Gulf of Mexico per scientific publications, and they occupy habitats from Maine to Argentina. And they are one of the smaller dolphin species, only reaching
6 feet.
6 feet, 6 to 7 feet in length.
Okay.
From beak to fluke. Do you know what a fluke is?
The tail, the back tail.
No, that's when the Texans win the championship. They utilize counter-shading coloration where they have a darker dorsal side and a lighter ventral side, and with a peppering of spots along the heads and sides. These spots are not visible when the dolphins are young, but they grow in number as they mature in age. Pantropical spotted dolphins can be seen in pods of over...
Am I looking for a number here?
Yes.
How many are in the pod?
Yes.
25.
1,000 individuals hunting for prey such as fish and squid. Unfortunately, they are highly susceptible to net entanglements from fishing boats, which has caused a decrease in their populations over time. That's right. Get the net-free, pure albacore tuna. Dolphin-free.
Okay. Dolphin-free tuna.
Pantropical spotted dolphins.
Pantropical. Okay. All right, back to the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Guess what's stuck in my head now? Thanks, Snead. Okay.
Can you take me, Marlins?
Bobby Hot Dogs corrects her and says Gulf of America.
No.
There's that.
It was assigned Gulf of Mexico at birth. That's what I'll call it.
We know how gullible CW is for believing one article about Cobb not being racist. I never said I believed it. I said there's a very compelling article and lecture, and like, if you're into baseball history, I highly urge you check it out, and you can draw your own opinion or conclusion or not. Like me, I think there's a window open for how one-sided things used to be with sports writers back in the day. There's a window open for truth there, and maybe truth is in the middle somewhere too.
It probably is.
But
however,
I don't know.
Just like we feel like he couldn't tell his side of the story, we also can't prove that it's not true. Just because this one guy, as you said, not a whole lot of
right.
Just because you can't say that it is true.
Journalists wielded
huge power.
Incredible power in those days.
They were the storytellers of the time.
Yeah, and whatever they wanted, they were gatekeepers.
Remember, there wasn't any television to show us the pretty pictures. All we had was the dulcet tones of our broadcasters who were describing, or the guys who sat up there with the typewriter and banged out the story and told you the story that they wanted you to hear.
And far more people during that time had ability to read a newspaper than even have access to a radio.
Absolutely. So, because remember, think about it. The 1919 World Series, most of the people who listened to that went into parlors and they had it listened to a ticker tape of some guy reading the ticker tape.
Exactly.
So that was your stadium.
And
that was your streaming back then.
It's funny, we've talked about Pete Rose. I let the 8 Men Out movie influence my my opinion on Shoeless Joe Jackson way too much.
Oh, I didn't. I've always thought Shoeless Joe Jackson was just kind of dragged into that.
And I let that movie kind of influence my opinion on it, even though there's a lot of, the
guy hit 375 in the World Series.
Right.
It's like, he was part of it. He probably acquiesced to it, and he signed his X, made his mark.
I am far more happy about him being eligible than I am Pete Rose. I'm not against the Pete Rose thing, but Shoeless Joe,
there's a couple of guys on the Black Sox that probably, the catcher was not part of it, and he got yanked down on that deal. There was one of the outfielders, got another guy hits like 320 in the series with like 8 RBI in the World Series, and got taken down at it.
Do you have our Marlins song? Let's play it now. Why not? Snead's got to hear some of it.
What?
Crank it even more if you can. I don't know if you can. Oh. Come on, man. You've never heard this?
Please tell me they didn't pay these guys to do this.
I'm pretty sure the Marlins paid them for this, yes.
No.
Scott
Stapp in the music video has a Marlins jersey with his name on it.
Yeah, he does. What? This is called Marlins Soar?
Marlins will soar.
Which is even better.
Please don't tell me that
talks about Marlins soaring around,
Please don't tell me they play this at their baseball games.
I don't think they do anymore. I think there was a point
this is just a higher class version of this is our team. This is our team.
Oh, it's
Let's
amazing,
go, Colts.
Isn't it? Marlins will soar.
Oh my gosh! Why?
Classic.
Why do people do that? What would you do with a thing I don't do? That's okay.
Let's see.
Joe Cocker.
Back to the chat line. Bob Kirby says, as a member of the FBI, female body inspector, I draw my weapon. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Should have read.
Probably read through that before.
Should have read that one all the time.
I saw where that was going real fast.
Isn't Ruben Sierra still playing somewhere?
No. It's Julio Franco still playing.
Yeah, he was the one.
He's like 68, still playing in the Mexican League. And raking, by the way.
Rose was given a lifetime ban. He's dead now. Life is over. He should be reinstated. He had a Hall of Fame baseball playing career, and nobody doubts that reality. His transgressions were for when he was a manager. He's not under consideration for the Hall of Fame as a manager. Put him in, and Cobb was a racist. Okay.
You know what? I don't disagree with a thing the texter just said right there. Yeah. I'm all for all that.
Okay.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app, powered by our friends at Happy State Bank. We're watchable on TV, Fox 34 News Now, as well as the YouTube channel. Check out the Double T Sports Network there. Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV. However, wherever you're joining us from, we are glad that you've decided to make us part of your Wednesday, alongside Jeff McGuire, who now joins us in the First United Bank studio, and for the traveling Jamie Lent. I'm Chois Woodman. We got Ben Porman across the way taking care of us. Y'all hit us up. Thoughts, comments, questions, all of it welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Take that mobile app anywhere with you, even listening out in South Dakota.
Okay.
If you want some afternoon tea.
I'm sitting here looking at the chat line, as I do when the show starts, to see what happened before I got here. Whether it be,
you could just turn the radio on.
I could. Well, no, but it's. I'm not seeing all the messages coming through.
Okay.
And I'm a bit disappointed right now because I thought I had something figured out.
Oh.
And something has now been reversed in that situation, so I'm back to square one. We have back-to-back texts from two people specifically that I thought were the same person. But clearly, they are not.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know that there's enough time to log out of one and log into the other.
Okay.
I was thinking that Bob Kirby was, in fact, Bullfighter.
Oh, no.
Been trying to figure out who Bob Kirby is.
It's actually Rob Verby.
It's not, because Rob would say it's Rob. Rob would have no issue saying it's Rob.
Well, I don't know.
It is definitely in the spirit of, and I do highly, highly enjoy Rob Kirby. I want to make this clear. I'm not throwing shade at Rob Kirby in any way.
Bob Kirby,
excuse me. No shade at all.
Okay.
I just thought that they were, in fact, also Bullfighter.
Oh, I never thought it was Bullfighter.
So I'm now back to square one.
He's more PG-13 floating with R than Bullfighter is.
I think Bullfighter...
If I was putting a rating on Bullfighter, he's more like PG flirting with PG-13.
Right. No, so. Bob Kirby is definitely across that line. But it's the difference between Disney and... Oh, what's their other one? Why am I drawing a blank on their big one that they can put all the other movies out on?
Hulu?
No. Their other movie company. Dang it, I'm going to look this up. Disney's got Disney movies, and then they've got a second company that they release movies off.
They own a bunch of stuff now.
But anything that's like PG-13 or up, they put it on that film. It's a Disney film. It's that film, like Arista or something. That's the name that comes to mind. Okay. Anyhow, so that's what I thought, and I have been proven wrong now. So now I am back to square one on my assumptions.
There you go. Bullfighter says, who says I don't have two phones? Could be bipolar.
He could.
That's still all accurate, but you're not Bob Kirby. So we've talked about a few different topics. We've gotten into the Pete Rose stuff. We've gotten into really just a handful of different topics over the first hour or so. Did you see, Jeff, that you will soon be able to rent people on Airbnb?
I want no part of this.
Your eyebrow.
I don't want to be part of the conversation. I don't want to be part of the renting of or being rented. I want nothing to do with this.
I didn't say buy people.
There is no outcome in this I want any piece of.
This is renting people.
I want no part of this.
So Airbnb...
I am standing back. I am not joining this conversation.
Airbnb is...
Nothing to do with this.
Isn't just for renting houses anymore. Founder and CEO Brian Chesky announced that they are adding new services. This will include things like massages and personal training, plus experiences tailored to specific location, like pastry making classes in Paris or gallery tour in New York City. So there's all sorts of services. Oh, and you will be able to rent celebrities. Chesky says he has dozens of famous people ready to participate, including initial offerings that will include a day of playing football and eating barbecue with Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. All right. Hey, we got a radio show here.
Are we done renting people?
So
nope, that's it. Okay, we're good. Go ahead. I want no part.
I'm going to shut up and let you be.
I'm the old white guy that's going to get blamed for this. No.
No, you're the only one turning it into something awkward. Initial offerings, if you're listening, will include a day of playing football and eating barbecue with Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. So if you could do any sort of activity on here, if there's something you could rent your favorite celebrity, rent their time, what would you want it to be?
No. There's no part of this I want a part of. I get that this could be a great way to hang out with your favorite celebrity, play poker with them, go to a bar, play a game of catch, try to tackle Bo Jackson. I mean, there's a million things you could do with this. I totally get it, right? This leads into so many problems I don't want any piece of. The chatter on the chat line says Deshaun Watson is all about to jump all over this. That's from Bullfighter. Yeah, I want...
That was the massages part.
I want no piece of this. This can only end badly. I highly encourage everyone that is involved with this to rethink their life decisions.
I think you're being idiotic right now. What do you mean it can end badly for them to rent time with someone? They sell times like this at rich people auctions.
Uh-huh.
They do stuff like this.
I would want no piece of this. None whatsoever. I'm sorry for ruining your fun. I apologize. I want no piece of this. There is nothing in this that sounds like a good idea.
Bobby Hot Dog sounds like a Diddy party there. Let's see. Airbnb charged with soliciting prostitution. Next headline. Okay. So Patrick Mahomes will be involved in this. Day-long experiences with Sabrina Carpenter and Megan Thee Stallion. Chesky is hoping Airbnb will get people off of their phones. Quote, AI is magical, but you know what's more magical than AI? The real world and people and relationships and memories.
Don't disagree with any of that.
So Mahomes has already even put out a joint, I guess is this a thread or Instagram post, whatever it is, showing that he will be willing to barbecue, toss football around, play golf with. I think golf is where I'd go for most celebrities. I'd love to play a round of golf. If I had that kind of money, I am very curious to see what the price tag on these things are going to be when they come out. You're hanging out with the Bottom Line. You're back to some Big 12 football conversation coming up on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's a Wednesday with the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Chois Woodman, Jeff McGuire in the First United Make studio. Y'all keep hitting us up. Thoughts, comments, questions. Oh, welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We will dive back into a few of yours in a moment. Bullfighter says, Beltray and Elvis Andrews and myself about to have a blast playing baseball. It'd be fun. Sure would. Okay, I teased this yesterday, but we had a short show and we didn't get to it. The ESPN put out a ranking of the offseason for every Power 4 college football team. And this was compiled by each conference. So the best offseason, according to ESPN, in each conference, Clemson had the best offseason in the ACC, 1 out of 17 teams. Texas Tech, not too surprisingly, the best offseason in the Big 12 Conference.
Hard to beat it.
Penn State had the best offseason in the Big 10. And then in the SEC,
I don't know if I want to guess Texas or A&M. I'm going to say Texas.
LSU.
LSU. Wow. They won on all accounts.
Yeah, Texas was 4th on their list. A&M was 7th. So, but we don't care that much about the others outside the league. We do care about Texas Tech in the Big 12. The Red Raiders, I mean, pretty self-explanatory for anybody that's paying attention to what's gone on here in Lubbock. They say there's a what went wrong section, a what went right, and then Connolly's take, who wrote this article. The what went wrong, not much. That's what it says. McGuire and GM James Blanchard and billionaire board chairman Cody Campbell set out to build the most talented roster in Texas Tech history this offseason and spared no expense in their efforts to compete for the best players in the portal. McGuire also went out and got exactly who he wanted for his coordinator vacancies. The only player Tech didn't want to lose, 5-star wideout Micah Hudson, has already returned after a brief stint at A&M. It goes on, says total of 22 scholarship players have moved on. So that's the only thing that could be even viewed as a negative. What went right? If you're willing to spend millions on transfers, can you get anybody you want? The Red Raiders came pretty darn close. And then it goes on to say they've assembled one of the best defensive lines in the sport with the additions of Lee Hunter, David Bailey, Romello Height, and Skylar Gill-Howard. Made massive upgrades on the offensive line with Howard Sampson, Illinois State's Hunter Zambrano, Miami's Will Jados, and then transfer Reggie Virgil and Terrence Carter lead the way in the pass catching there. His take, Tech's 8-5 record was a bit of a mirage last season, propped up by a 6-1 record in one-score games. Joey McGuire will therefore need to get even more improvement out of the amazing transfer class than you might think at first glance, but this was indeed a spectacular offseason in Lubbock.
6-1 in one-score games. I'm sure that's right. I don't doubt their research.
Yeah, and
that's not how the season felt. Like thinking back on it, I wouldn't have said that. I know early.
I immediately remember your one loss on there. It's the TCU game.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Iowa State one was a one-score game. You had a one-score game against ACU,
right? Yeah. Like it.
No, I mean I know.
Like I don't get the. I don't remember it that way. That we were in that many, like
close games.
That type of close one-score games.
I do. Arizona, you had to get an interception at the end to win it. Cincinnati, they missed a field goal at the end so you could win it. Technically, Tech beat Arizona State in a one-score game.
Yeah, and that
was an 8-point win.
An 8-point win, right?
Where you just kind of held on at the end.
28-22 over Arizona. Massive loss to Baylor. One-score loss.
Oklahoma State was a one-score game and just a shootout. You held them at arm's length for the most part in that game, or held them. You were up by 2 scores most of the game, but ended up being a one-score game. Some felt closer than others, so I get your point. But
that's not. I'm not saying that you blew everybody out. Let's make this, but it just didn't. That didn't click with me.
2 years ago in Joey McGuire's first year, you won a lot of one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I guess it would be 2 years ago now, 2023, you lost several one-score games, much more than the first year. So, I get the point from the article saying you've got to be even better than that, so you quit playing in so many one-score games.
That would be nice.
But that's been the mantra for 3 years under Joey McGuire, and you've won way more than you've lost in the close games. So I think there is something to that, because you went through what felt like a near decade of losing almost every one-score game, every close game under Cliff Kingsbury and Matt Wells, where you couldn't win them.
You might have been 1-87 in those games, it felt like.
Over and over. So North Texas was a blowout. Oh, razzle dazzle! You crushed them. That was the
one.
You absolutely blew them out in that one.
And I didn't doubt the stat. Like, it just, but in my head, I just didn't think of it that way.
You get it. Okay, so back to the article there. The others in the league, I will just roll through these because there's 16 teams in this league. They have Arizona State at the second best with the key departures, Cam Scadaboo, offensive lineman, defensive back, key additions, a couple of wide receivers, running back. Third best in the league, Baylor. They've got the Bears at the third best off-season. Iowa State is fourth. Kansas State is fifth. I'm not sure who one of their key additions is Jerron Bradley. I'm pretty sure he had like 150 receiving yards at Boston College last year. So, skeptical on them being fifth. TCU is sixth on this list. Seventh is Utah. Of course, they added a quarterback through the portal, Devin Dampier. That's their most notable add. Eighth on the best off seasons in the Big 12, or worst, Cincinnati.
Okay.
Ninth, BYU.
Do you think that these positions are weighted so that if you needed a quarterback and got a quarterback that you would be higher on this list than if you needed a running back and got a running back?
I think it's just more of a overall, what has it done for your roster type of thing. So, yes, quarterback matters more than other positions, but most did not need a quarterback.
I would be interested to see how they figured that math out.
Yeah,
like what the calculation for that was.
They've got Colorado at 10th on this list. Now Colorado loses.
They lost a bunch.
Travis Hunter and Shadir Sanders. They got the quarterback Caden Salter from the portal, but they also got Julian Lewis from their high school class. Houston is 11, and they've got a quarterback incoming from A&M, Connor Wegman. 12th was Oklahoma State. 13th, West Virginia. Now, and this is just off-season rankings. West Virginia also got a new head coach, and one that has a lot of experience. It's his alma mater in Rich Rod. Kansas was 14 on this list. Arizona, 15. And then dead last in terms of off-season, how you did rankings, the UCF Knights. They got quarterback Taven Jackson from the transfer portal from Indiana.
Interesting. That they're at the bottom of the list.
Bottom of the list, yep. Of course, they lost Lee Hunter to Texas Tech. And
did they mention our new kicker-punter combo in the Arizona State losses?
Being as how I don't know how much he's actually going to play, no, they do not mention him.
They don't understand how big of a key addition that is for the Red Raiders.
Well, according to the morning drive, I couldn't believe y'all didn't hardly talked about that this morning. Figured y'all were going to have the whole show on.
We were sidetracked very much this morning.
Seemed like it. We will dive back into more of your thoughts, and we have a question of the day coming up next on 100.7 The Score.
bringing you the truth or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Appreciate you hanging out with us on a Wednesday. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Jeff McGuire to my right. I'm Chois Woodman. We will continue to get to more of your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Went through some Big 12 offseason stuff there. Let's go ahead and get to our question.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
Jeffrey, Ben,
Choice.
Our fine listening audience. There is a lot going on as far as a lot of attention put on the NFL schedules lately.
Well,
and rightfully so.
Yeah.
We'll have full releases later this evening of the NFL schedule. But we'll get into that a lot tomorrow, the schedule, because
we'll have the whole thing at that
We'll have a whole
Sure.
schedule we can talk about with the Dallas Cowboys. Today I want you to pull up your Texas Tech football schedule.
My Texas Tech football schedule for 2025?
And I may, for 2025.
Okay.
And I may ask you to do this again tomorrow with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see. But
keep in mind who you're talking to. The most disgruntled Cowboy fan.
That's fine.
Okay.
But what I want you to do right now is tell me if you had the opportunity to make any change to Texas Tech football's schedule, any alteration, and the key is you have to keep the same 12 teams that are on the schedule. So no, you can't go say we want Baylor or we want TCU, because I think a lot of people would flip a team out.
Okay. Yeah.
But
okay. I'm good.
Keeping the same 12 teams you have on the schedule, what change would you make to Texas Tech's schedule in 2025 if you had that sort of power?
If I was the genie in Aladdin and had astonishing cosmic power and could change anything, be ruler of the universe with all of my power.
I would hope you wouldn't use it on a schedule, but
well, this is it's not just a game that I'm fixing. I'm fixing making something permanent and stamping it in concrete.
Okay.
I would flip the Oklahoma State and West Virginia games, where you play Oklahoma State the week after Thanksgiving every year.
Okay.
Whether it be home or away, obviously you alternate, but that would be your dedicated rival the final week of the season every year.
Okay.
That is what I would do.
So you would flip the Oklahoma State game
And West Virginia. Now, it just happens to be West Virginia. It could have been UCF, but we're talking last game of the season.
So your idea is just
the last Saturday of the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Have that be the Oklahoma State game every single year,
regardless of location.
Okay. That is how I would fix your schedule this year.
Ben?
So taking a short, thorough look at this, overemphasizing the short, I would flip BYU and West Virginia. Given the season we saw BYU last year and how they were nearly on the verge of making it to the Big 12 championship, and sure, they didn't have what did you say, they were like 14th on the ESPN list?
I think they were 10 or 11.
Or 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the best offseason, but they're not being counted out yet. I can see them repeating the same trajectory as they had last season. And I would like that. I would like finishing off the season at home against them more so than going off to dumpy little Morgantown to the unnecessary take me home country roads. Keeping the locations the same.
Okay.
What about you? What would you change?
I think my change would be a movement of the Utah game.
Okay.
And
do you know where you're going to move it?
I would do one of two things. I would just flip it straight up with the Houston game that's right after it, because I think it's a lot easier to start at Houston than it is to start at Utah. I don't think Utah is going to be great, but it's still going to be a good team, and that's a tough first Big 12 game.
Sure.
Or I would move it back a week where you have a bye heading into it.
So everybody shifts down.
So right now, your schedule says you have 4 games to open the season: Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State, and Utah, and then the bye. And then there's a bye between Utah and Houston.
You would rather have the bye before Utah and go Utah than Houston back to back.
I think I would still prefer to just flip the Houston and Utah
the two
games.
Sure.
That's what I would do. Because I think if you're in a season where you have such high expectations, like Texas Tech is going to have this year, you need to get off to a good start.
Yes. Yes.
Because
this time without the oops.
You want to alleviate any pressure of down the stretch, or have less pressure down the stretch. And if you've got early season losses, it applies more pressure down the stretch for this team.
Yes, absolutely.
And given what we saw last year coming off a bye to the Baylor game, we want to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah. So Utah, to me, is a team that was kind of opposite of Texas Tech. They played a whole lot of close games and lost a whole lot of close games last year. So I don't think this isn't a team that's far away, even though they missed a bowl game. I don't think it's a team that is far away from being a good team. I'm not saying they're going to be great or win the Big 12, but they will absolutely be capable of beating Texas Tech, especially if Texas Tech, like they should, comes in with a number next to their name.
At that point, yes.
Heading into Salt Lake City. I think you're going to have a preseason ranking. I think you will have one. And I think at that point, you should go 3-0, supposed to go 3-0 through your non-conference. I know you've been all about I am scared of the Oregon State game, but you are the only one.
I totally get it. That's the one right now of your schedule to begin the season. I am so nervous for Oregon State.
Tech will be a double-digit favorite in each of their first 3 games.
That doesn't make me feel better.
I got it.
That doesn't make me feel better.
I get the nervousness, but the one difference in where nerves would be for me is every single one of your non-conference losses in the first 3 years of Joey McGuire have been on the road.
Yes, and all 3 of these are at home, and that does help a little.
Factors in. So
but I'm just so nervous looking at that.
You should be 3-0, and you should be a ranked team heading into the matchup with Utah.
Yes.
And they're going to be motivated in Salt Lake City. So I do like it being early, so you're not playing in Utah in November it's
Ooh.
super cold.
Many thank yous for that.
So I do like the September game, but I think I would flip it to Houston. So y'all can chime in. How would you change Texas Tech's schedule if you had the opportunity?
Now, if you gave me complete control.
To flip several things?
If you trade out a team. And even making sure that it's a home game or a road game.
Sure.
Like you can't trade a road game for a home game kind of concept.
Kansas State.
Well, I would get
Kansas. Where you're headed, Jeff?
I would get rid of Kansas State just for pure just getting rid of them. But no, you eventually will have to play them. I would trade out UCF for either TCU or Baylor.
For a home game.
It happens to be a home game, because the UCF game is a home game. I do not like that you are only playing one team from the state of Texas.
I think UCF is the worst team in the league, so I don't want to trade them out.
I just don't like that you're not playing anybody else from Texas other than U of H.
I think I would probably trade out Kansas or Kansas State for TCU or Baylor. If I got the option to flip either of those, it would probably be that.
I would also kick you.
Because neither one of those,
but I don't get that vote.
And I'd probably trade it for a road game, so K-State, Arizona State, something like that. Because both TCU and
TCU's road game last year,
right? I'm saying.
No, I wouldn't trade for TCU because that would be back-to-back road games. That I wouldn't want.
Baylor and TCU, those stadiums aren't fear-inducing.
Out of
stadiums.
principle, I wouldn't want to go back-to-back road games with TCU.
Fine.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's a Wednesday edition of the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Chois Woodman, Jeff McGuire, Ben Porman with you. Got 30 minutes left in the program, and it is time for Tell Me I'm Wrong. Jeff, the floor is yours.
All right, guys, I want you to pull up the Texas Tech football schedule because it is required information to have for you to either tell me I am right or tell me that I am wrong.
All right.
You guys know how I feel about the Kansas State Wildcats.
I've heard of it, yeah.
I am not picking a win against the Wildcats ever again until you beat them at least one time when it comes to football. Gentlemen, your Texas Tech's football season coming up, their first loss will not be to Kansas State. Tell me I am wrong. And in order for you to tell me I am wrong, you either need to tell me that they will have a loss before Kansas State or who their first loss will be.
What if you're not going to pick them for a loss?
Then it goes into they will not lose and they will be undefeated.
Okay.
And then it will be recorded for all time on the radio, and it will be reminded of you every time we play a football game.
Really?
I need to reintroduce you to your partner that's normally here at noon?
Chris Snead, yeah. Okay. So you're saying the first loss will not come in Manhattan?
Yes.
I think you're wrong.
You think I'm wrong? Okay.
I think that's where the first loss is.
You think that's where the first loss is?
I think you will go 8-0 up to that point, and you lose your first game of the season in Manhattan. I'm flip-flopping between two games where I think your first loss will be, and possibly only loss of the season. But
it's Kansas State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even Kansas State.
No.
Like this year's team,
has nothing to do with it.
Version of Kansas State, I don't think is that scary. I think they're a good football team. I don't think they're a great football team.
You have taken better teams up there and lost. You have faced worse teams here and lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So as of right now on May 14th, I think you're wrong. I think that's where Texas Tech's first loss comes on the schedule, which I'll be pretty thrilled with. If you start off 8-0,
I will also be so disappointed.
I will be sad. I will be sad.
So disappointed
because you will be a highly ranked team if you're 8-0.
Not after that, you won't be. No,
you'll still be highly ranked. But okay,
Ben,
I see it wrong on two different scenarios. The first one, you sounded skeptical about Oregon State and maybe a little about Utah, but not so much. And as the fan in me, the second scenario, I still think, like Choice said, you'll go 8-0 before you reach Manhattan. And you said time and time again on the postgame show, whether it was last year or even in 2023, you said you have continued to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory against those less than Kansas State teams that you're facing, regardless of whether you're here or if you're in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And I too can feel like that can happen again. I'm prepared to be let down, but not with this team,
who we haven't seen play it down yet. Like this is all speculation. None of this is being recorded for like actual predictions for the upcoming season. I want to be clear on this. Like we're allowed to change our mind when we get into the fall.
I think where it gets interesting is when you actually open up Kansas State's schedule and dive into that, because you will be the last in. We talked about Tech not really having a murderer's row. You'll be the last in a really tough 4-game stretch for them. They go from October 4th at Baylor, home against TCU, at Kansas, which I think will be a tough game for them this year, and then home against Texas Tech. I think K-State is capable of winning all 4 of those games. I think they are capable of losing all 4 of those games. So that's a pretty darn tough stretch, and if they're 0-3 or 1-2, which I would be surprised at 0-3, but if they're 1-2 over those previous 3 games, they could be in quite desperation mode when they play you on November 1st.
They could. And for the first time in forever, I'd be very okay with that. However, not picking it as a win.
You also got to ask how confident you are in Avery Johnson in the through the air.
To quote the texter in the chat line, they could start my 10-year-old kid and that they would at quarterback and they would still beat us. That's where I'm at with Kansas State.
I get it. I get there's a mental block that goes with K-State right now. I hope desperately that ends this year.
Oh, I'm never rooting for it to happen.
I never said you were. I think the part that's like if I'm a gambling man on this and you're giving me odds, I will say you're absolutely right. Because the odds are that there's a loss. Your first loss comes outside of that realm somewhere.
Yes, either before or after.
There's not a lot after.
There is not a lot after.
Like UCF and West Virginia, again, you don't chalk things up, but those are 2 wins right now. Should be 2 wins. BYU is going to be tough at home. Prior to that, the game that makes me the most nervous is at Arizona State, though I'm not super nervous about it. Yeah, I think if the season started today, Texas Tech would be an underdog in 3 games individually.
Okay.
Which I don't know when ESPN puts up their football power index, that sort of stuff. We're still
So, Choice, what keeps you nervous about Arizona State? Just because they were the
Where
defending
did they play
champions?
last year?
They're your reigning Big 12 champs. That's what's nervous.
But without Cam Scadaboo and
I think they are a lesser team. I think they're getting propped up a decent amount. But because they're the Big 12 champs, they've been there and done it, and Tech hasn't, and you're playing at their place. That's what has me nervous.
I don't see why it should, though, because I feel like the only reason Sam Leavitt went off on us last year is because your secondary was abysmal.
Well, Leavitt didn't really go off. I mean, you won the game. Arizona State scored 22 points. That was one of Tech's better defensive games. Mm-hmm. He had a decent day, but it was not near the day he had against others. My nervousness comes from not his trip to Lubbock, but from him getting to Arlington. And Leavitt is being projected as the best quarterback in this league by pretty well every publication out there by default. There's really not another quarterback out there that you say.
Was it you and Rob that were having this conversation, or was it?
Jamie and I talked about it yesterday a little bit. I don't know if that's what you.
No, I was with you yesterday.
Then 2 days ago.
Sorry. 2 days ago.
We were talking about just quarterback in general.
No, I think it was Rob and it might have been Tech Talk. It might have been Rob and Gus.
Okay.
I could be wrong. That Baron Morton is so far down on that list among almost all of these. And I'm not saying he should be number 1. Let's dispel any rumor of that. I think one had him like 12 or 13 in the league. That feels way low.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's almost low enough to put a big old chip on your shoulder low of undeserving. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the conference, but he didn't have a bad year last year. It wasn't great. It wasn't to the standard of what we have seen capable of in a spread type offense at Tech, but it wasn't a bad year. He was also healthy all year up until the bowl game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that might snake bite him a little bit, but should things go a different direction, that just feels really off that he's that far down.
I think the Morton stuff is ignorant for people that are doing rankings and putting him really low. I think middle of the pack is completely fair based off of his resume so far. But I think he also can project with the best roster around him overall. He should project to have a pretty darn good senior season this year. And, remember back to his last 2 games on the field. 2 of his best games he's played in a Red Raider uniform, putting up over 50 points against Oklahoma State and West Virginia in the last 2 games that Baron Morton offenses were on the field. So yeah, agree with what you're saying.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.